Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to study about S3 cross-region replication. This is a very important topic if you are going to appear in any of the associate level examinations of AWS. What exactly is replication? It simply means when you upload an object into one of the bucket, it automatically gets replicated in some other bucket in some another region. But this replication is asynchronous in behavior. It simply means it is not in real time, but there is some lag in the replication process. Now coming to another aspect, that why do we actually use replication? Suppose there is a requirement in your project that you are dumping some objects into a bucket and some another job or some another process is going to consume these files from some other region. In that case, you have to manually transfer those files into that another bucket. Also, sometimes you want to create a backup far away from your region in case of in future reference. So that's why we use cross-region replication. There are two basic requirements when you go for cross-region replication. Number one, the buckets should be in two different regions. They should not be in the same region. Point two is very important for the exam purpose, that versioning must be enabled in both the buckets. If that is not happening, cross-region replication will not take effect. Then, what are the different conditions we need to understand in which replication works and what things are not covered under replication? So, all the objects, if you see this point, all the objects which are added after the replication is enabled are replicated in your target bucket. All the objects which are encrypted with SSE-S3 or SSE-KMS are automatically replicated, but not with SSE-C. This is a very important point, that SSE-C encrypted objects are not replicated. All the tags associated with the object are also replicated. Now let us see things which are not replicated, that is out of scope. So objects that were created before the replication was enabled into your bucket, they are not going to get replicated. Second, as I already mentioned, objects encrypted with SSE-C are also not replicated. Lastly, objects that were result itself of some another replication are not replicated. I hope you understand this point, that objects which were replicated themselves will not be replicated in another bucket. That is the third time. Now comes a very important feature, the delete operation. In delete operation, you need to understand that if you are deleting an object without the version ID, it puts a delete marker in the target bucket. That is, the object is marked deleted in both the source and the target bucket. But if you are going to delete an object with a particular version ID, it's not going to get replicated. That is, that particular version is not going to be deleted in the target bucket. This is a very important feature that you need to remember if you're going to appear in the exam. There might be some manipulations in the language and the exam will test you on these simple scenarios. Now let's move to the hands-on. So for the sake of convenience, I have already created two different buckets. One bucket is in Asia Pacific Mumbai. The other bucket is in Asia Pacific Singapore region. So let me go and enable this cross-region replication for this bucket. We will go to the management, replication, and we will add a rule. what do we want, for the entire bucket or a particular prefix, that is a particular tag that only a certain set of objects that are being uploaded, you want them to be replicated or the entire bucket. So in this case we are going to use the whole bucket, that is my test 1121. We can also check this box for all the objects with KMS replication. We will uncheck for this time as we are not using any of the objects with the encryption keys. Let's move next. Then we have to select the destination bucket, that is your target where all the objects will go. So we don't have any other account. You can also replicate this object if the bucket is from some another owner. For that case, obviously you will need permissions and IAM role for that particular bucket. For this bucket in this account, let's search. We already have this bucket, my test 1122. So let's select this bucket. In the target system, as I told you earlier in the theory, that we can also use it as a backup. So suppose you have a standard storage class, and for the cost effectiveness you want to change the class to some like infrequent access in the destination. Then you can use this feature. As of now, we are unchecking this feature, but you should know that this option is also available. Going next, it's a no-brainer that obviously you will be needing some permissions in the target folder before you move and add the objects in there. So we don't have any IAM role, so S3 will automatically create a role for you. Let's give this a name. Now you can just review this replication rule. I will save this. It's done. So let's quickly upload a file. I have a dummy file ready with me. I will upload this file here. Let's go and check in our target bucket. Here you see it's empty. I already told you it's an asynchronous application. See, after a few seconds the file appears here. Now let's test some modifications of this application. I will modify this file. I will save it, and this will create a new version of this file over here. Let's show all the versions. You see, now we have the latest version, that is here. Let's quickly go and check in the target bucket. If you see the versions, yes, it's replicated. Now let's check the delete operation. Suppose I go here and I delete this latest version of the file. Pretty cool, right? Let's go and check here. You see, both the versions are already available here. So you have to remember, in the delete operation, if you are going to delete a particular version of the object, now this will not be replicated in the target. But if you delete the whole file or the whole object, then a delete marker will be put on both the source and the target bucket. Okay, that's all for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any doubts, please do comment, and happy learning.